You know the feeling. It's one of those blistering hot, sticky Hialeah afternoons, and then nothing. Just silence. The cool air stops flowing, and you can literally feel the heat starting to creep back into the room. When your AC dies on you, it feels like more than just a little bad luck, doesn't it? It feels like you lost a fight. And honestly, you're not wrong. Your air conditioner is fighting a war against a seriously harsh environment, and today, we're going to break down that entire battle.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to understand the battlefield itself, what we're calling the Hialeah Heat Gauntlet. Then we'll do a little autopsy on a typical breakdown to see what really happens. After that, we'll get into that tough question, to repair or replace. From there, we'll arm you with a practical maintenance playbook. And finally, we're going to decode some of that confusing tech talk so you feel totally in control of the conversation.
So, let's just set the stage here. What makes Hialeah so brutal for an air conditioner? You know, it's not just that it's hot. It's a whole combination of things that puts this extreme, non-stop stress on your entire system.
Okay, first off, the humidity. Wow, we are talking about levels that are consistently above 70% all year long. This means your AC isn't just making the air cooler, it's also got this huge second job of ripping gallons and gallons of moisture out of the air. That's a massive, constant strain. And just think about the workload that comes with that. In most parts of the country, an AC unit gets a nice long vacation in the fall and winter. But here, nope. The cooling season is a grueling 9-month-long marathon. It runs pretty much non-stop from April all the way through October. There is no off-season.
And yeah, running a marathon like that has a direct consequence. You see, the national average lifespan for an HVAC system is somewhere around 15 to 20 years. But down here in South Florida, that constant, relentless operation just grinds them down way faster. You're lucky to get 12 to 15 years out of a system. They just wear out sooner, plain and simple.
Okay, so we know it's a tough environment. But how exactly does all that stress turn into a complete system failure? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and identify the real environmental villains that are causing the most common and most expensive breakdowns around here.
So problem number 1, corroded condenser coils. This is when those delicate little metal fins on your outdoor unit literally start getting eaten away. This corrosion acts like a thick wool blanket, trapping heat and making it impossible for the unit to cool efficiently, which, as you can guess, leads to major problems.
And what's the culprit here? Well, you can't even see it, but it is everywhere. It's the salt in the air. It just drifts inland from Biscayne Bay and wages this relentless war on the aluminum in your condenser coils. It's like a slow-motion chemical assault happening in your backyard 24/7.
Next up, we've got an issue that can strike completely out of the blue: sudden electrical failures. One minute, your AC is humming along just fine, and the next, bam, key parts like capacitors or contactors are totally fried. The cause here is about as predictable as a 4 o'clock thunderstorm in August. All those intense storms we get create these little power surges that jolt your system. Those surges are absolutely brutal on the sensitive electronics inside your AC and can kill them in an instant.
Have you ever gone to check on your indoor unit and seen it encased in a block of ice? That's a frozen evaporator coil. It's a bizarre thing to see when it's 90 degrees outside, but it completely stops your AC from cooling and can cause a ton of water damage as it melts.
Now, what's happening here is kind of counterintuitive. It's not that your system is too cold, it's that it's not getting enough warm air. When a dirty filter or a blocked vent restricts the airflow, the refrigerant inside the coil gets so cold that our superhumid air just instantly freezes onto its surface.
And now for the big one, the breakdown that every homeowner absolutely dreads: compressor failure. The compressor is basically the heart of your entire system, and when that heart gives out, it's almost always the most expensive repair you can possibly face.
And the reason the heart gives out, honestly, it's just sheer exhaustion. That 9-month cooling season we talked about forces the compressor to run and run and run, almost non-stop. Most residential compressors just weren't built for that kind of continuous, high-stress workload. So when that big expensive failure does happen, you're stuck with this awful choice. Do you sink more money into this old, tired system, or is it finally time to bite the bullet and replace the whole thing? Let's look at a little tool that can help you make a smart financial decision instead of a purely emotional one.
It's called the $5,000 rule, and it's a fantastic little rule of thumb. It's so simple. You just multiply the age of your AC unit in years by the estimated cost of the repair. If that final number is more than $5,000,
then replacement is probably the smarter long-term move.
Let's make this real with a quick example. Okay, let's say your system is 12 years old and a technician tells you it's going to be a $500 repair. You just multiply 12 years by $500 and you get $6,000. Since that's over the $5,000 threshold, the rule is telling you it's probably time to start looking at new systems.
But how do you avoid even getting to that point? Right? This is where we go on the offense. This is your playbook, your best defense, to help your AC actually win the battle against our climate. Okay, this checklist right here covers the absolute must-dos. Changing your filter regularly, that is non-negotiable. Clearing out the condensate line prevents nasty water backups. And having a pro come in to clean the coils, check your refrigerant, and look at the electrical connections can catch those huge problems when they're still small and manageable.
And here's a really crucial piece of advice for anybody living in South Florida. Because our conditions are so extreme, a once-a-year tune-up, it's often not enough. To really handle the long cooling season and all this humidity, most systems around here really need professional service twice a year.
And finally, let's empower you with a little knowledge. You know, when a technician comes to your house, they can start throwing around a lot of jargon. Understanding just a few key terms can make a world of difference when you have to make a big decision.
So, you're going to hear about refrigerant. The old stuff, R22, was totally phased out by the EPA back in 2020. So, if you have an older system that needs a recharge of R22, it is going to be incredibly expensive. The new standard is R410A. It's more efficient, but it runs at a higher pressure, so it requires newer, compatible equipment. Just knowing which one you have is a huge piece of the puzzle.
Another term you'll hear all the time is the SEER rating. The easiest way to think about this is like miles per gallon for your car. It's just a simple rating of efficiency. The higher the SEER number, the less electricity your AC sips to cool your home. And in Florida, the law actually says any new system has to have a minimum rating of 15 SEER, which has a direct impact on your monthly power bill. So, let's end on this thought. Your air conditioner here in Hialeah runs for more than 3,000 hours every single year. That's just an incredible amount of work for any machine. The real question is, after seeing everything we've talked about today, is your system ready for the next 3,000 hours of battle? Now you've got the playbook to make sure the answer is yes.